रामानुजदया पात्रं ज्ञानवैराग्यभूषणं श्रीमद्वेङ्कटनाथार्यं वन्दे वेदान्तदेशिकं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये। माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना। भूतं शरस्य महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराकुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं। वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानाथं को न याति परां गतिम्। वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना। अञ्जनानन्दनं वीरं जानकीशोकनाशनं कपीशमक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम्। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूतमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। आञ्जनेयमदिपाठलाननं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि रघुरामनन्दनम्। यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमः राक्षसान्तकम्। यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमः राक्षसान्तकम्। In the entire Srimad Ramayanam, it is Sundara Kandam which is undoubtedly the most beautiful portion. Tilaka, who was one of the most prominent and respected and revered commentators of Valmiki's Srimad Ramayanam, gives a very beautiful Mangala Shlokam to Sundara Kandam. सुन्दरे सुन्दरी लङ्का सुन्दरे सुन्दरी कथा सुन्दरे सुन्दरी सीता सुन्दरे किं न सुन्दरं सुन्दरे सुन्दरी सीता अक्षतां मरुते मुखात् श्रुत्वा कृष्ट तथैवास्तु स रामः सततं हरि। While we called it Balakandam because the princes Rama, Bharata, Lakshmana and Shatrughna and their wives, be it Sita, Urmila, Mandavi or Shrutakirti, they were all in their Balya Parvam, that is they were all in their childhood. So it was called Balakandam. Then dealing with Ayodhya Kandam, the name was given because all the scenes, all the incidents which happen primarily occur in the city of Ayodhya and in its outskirts like Nandigramam and Chitrakoot and Shringiberapuram. When we come to Aranya Kandam, All the incidents concerning Srimad Ramayanam occur in the Aranyam, that is in the forest, that is Dandakaranyam. Then we came to Kishkinda Kandam, where the prominent incidents like Valivadham, Sugriva Pattabhishekam and all these happen in Kishkinda Rajyam. Yuddha Kandam, the name very well denotes that it was a Kandam devoted especially to the Yuddham between Ravana and Sri Ram. That was in Lanka. But Sundara Kandam should have actually been Samudra Kandam. While Balakandam was called Balakandam, Ayodhya Kandam was called Ayodhya Kandam, Yuddha Kandam was called Yuddha Kandam. Since it happened in Kishkinda, it was called Kishkindha Kandam. Since it happened in the forest, it was called Aranya Kandam. This primarily happened over the ocean. So it must have been called Samudra Kandam or Sagara Kandam. But no, that was not the name which Valmiki gave. The name he gave, a special name he gave, was Sundara Kandam. One more surprising thing is, in Balakandam, Sita and Ram are born. They get together, marry in Mithila. That also happens in Balakandam. At the start of Ayodhya Kandam, for over a period of 12 years, they live happily in Ayodhya. Then they leave Ayodhya together, go to the forest together, seek the blessings of Maharishis and become friends with Guha and all that together. And in Aranya Kandam, until the first half, until Shurpanaka comes, they were together. After that, they got separated. In Kishkinda Kandam, there was a Sharanagati that was performed by Sugriva. Bhagavan gave Sharanam to him, and at the same time Vali Moksham took place. And in the Yuddha Kandam, in the final Kandam, we see how Ram and Sita got together again. And we also see how the Pattabhishekam takes place. But it is only primarily in the Sundara Kandam where Sita doesn't see Ram and Ram doesn't see Sita. Physically, they are separated in Sundara Kandam. We cannot say that they were together because there is no shlokam, there is no incident, there is no scene where Sita and Ram are together. When Sita and Ram are not physically together, when each of them is depressed, Ram is worried about Sita and Sita is worried about when she will get together along with Ram. When they are worried, why should it be called Sundara Kandam? To all these questions, Tilaka gives this shlokam, Sundare Sundari Lanka, Sundare Sundari Katha, Sundare Sundari Sita, Sundare Kimna Sundaram, Sundare Sundari Sita, Akshatam Marute Mukhad, Shrutva Krishtat Tathaivastu Sarama Satatam Hridi. He says, you all may be wondering why it is called Sundara Kandam. Please listen to this. Only in separation can love blossom. A mother will always have a soft corner, affection and love towards her children. Imagine that the mother has been cooking very good food, delicious food every day and the son is eating and finding one fault every day. There is no enough salt, there is no enough chili powder, there is no enough rice. He keeps on telling some mistake or the other. The mother, being mother herself, she forgives her son for all the mistakes she says. One fine day, the son gets a very good seat in a very good college, which is 5,000 to 6,000 kilometers away from home. He goes there. The canteen food is very bad. And after about 4 months, after finishing 1 or 2 of his semesters, he comes back home. His mother that day, being so excited that her son is coming after such a long time, will cook food even without salt, and the son will have that food and say it is good. While all these years the mother had been cooking delicious food, he found fault. Whereas this day when the mother cooked the food without salt, he said it is good. Why? Because this separation, this temporary separation between the mother and son has made his respect, the regard and the love that he had towards his mother blossom. Likewise, Ram and Sita were always a divine couple, Divya Dampati. There is no doubt about it. As Swami Deshika says, Nishpratyuha Pranaya Ghatitam Devi Nityannapayam Vishnuho Stvam Chet Anavadhigunam Dvandvam Anyonya Lakshyam. They cannot live without each other. Despite that, it is called Sundara Kandam because it is only here they are separated, but all their thoughts are in unison. So, as the Vedas say, Hiranyavarnam Harinim Suvarna Rajatasrajam Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Ma Avaha. That is, the one who has the complexion as that of gold, one who wears the garlands made of silver and gold, the one whose lips are as beautiful as the Chandra, the one who is the sister to Chandra. This lady called Lakshmi incarnated as Sita. So there is no doubt whether she would have been beautiful or not. Whenever a lady is beautiful, you call her Sundari. Bhagavan is Ajanubahum Aravindadayataksham. He had broad shoulders, thin hip, and he had beautiful lips. He had lotus-like eyes, curly hair, beautiful complexion. As the Vedas say, there is no doubt whether he would have been beautiful or not. He is a Sundara. So he was a Sundara, the most handsome and beautiful person. She was the most beautiful woman, Sundari. This Sundara Rama wanted to convey some information, convey a message to his wife, Sundari Sita. Sundari Sita in turn had to convey her message to Sundara Rama. So somebody had to carry this message of Sundara Rama to Sundari Sita and bring back the message of Sundari Sita to Sundara Rama. So we have seen two beautiful things. One is Sundara Rama and the other is Sundari Sita. Who is the person who is going to carry? That is Hanuman. How will we fit the name Sundara for Hanuman here? If you see the entire Srimad Ramayanam or any of the Puranas, Hanuman was a Karana Namam. For example, Drupada Maharaja in Srimad Mahabharatam performed a yajna, and from that yajna kundam arose a beautiful woman with a dark complexion. Her name was called Krishna. When Akarantam comes in Sanskrit, it denotes Strilingam, feminine. Since she was dark in complexion, she was called Krishna. Now you may be wondering, how did Drupada Maharaja have one more daughter called Krishna? We all know that Drupada Maharaja's daughter was Draupadi. Who is this Krishna? Actually, Draupadi's original name was Krishna. There is one beautiful shlokam in Srimad Mahabharatam which says, Yatra Krishnauscha Krishnascha Satyabhama cha Bhamini. Krishna was Draupadi. That was her original name. But she was called Draupadi because she was the daughter of Drupada Maharaja. So that was not her original name. That was a Karana Namam. Drupada's daughter was called Draupadi not by him but by others. He used to call her Krishna. Krishna Bhagavan himself used to treat her as his own sister and used to call her Krishna. Likewise, Janaka Maharaja's daughter was Janaki, but her original name was Sita. Likewise, Hanuman was the name which was given to him later. We will see why it was given. But the original name of Hanuman was not the name with which Anjana and Kesari christened their son. During the Namakarma ceremony, they gave the name Sundara. So Hanuman's original name was Sundara and not Hanuman or Anjaneya or Vayuputra. They were all Karana Namams. They all came out of a certain reason or an incident. So we have seen that the message that was sent by Sundara Rama was carried by Sundara Hanuman to Sundari Sita, and the message in return was given by Sundari Sita to Sundara Ram through Sundara Hanuman. So we have seen three Sundaras. More than that, Lanka was a Sundara place. It was a beautiful city. Sundare Sundari Lanka Sundare Sundari Katha. When all these things are beautiful, we have to obviously come to a conclusion that this Kanda must also be beautiful. Ram is beautiful, Sita is beautiful, Lanka is beautiful, Hanuman is beautiful. Obviously the story must also be beautiful. That is what Tilaka says. Sundari Sundari Sundare Sundari Lanka Sundare Sundari Katha Sundare Sundari Sita Sundare Kimna Sundaram Sundare Sundari Sita Akshatam Marute Mukhat Shrutva Krishtat Tathaivastu Saramas Satatam Pridi. In Kishkinda Kandam we saw until that point where Hanuman and all the other monkeys along with Angada, the bear king Jambavan, they were all seated in the southern tip of our country near Mahendragiri Parvatam. There they were discussing about what to do next because they did not know what to do. At that point of time, hearing the word Sita, Jatayu and so on, Sampati came forward, said that weep for his brother's demise, and he also said that Ravana carried Sita towards the southern direction, towards this place called Lanka. Then they came to know that Lanka is an island, Dweepam, and somebody has to fly over the ocean. Now came the situation as to who will fly. It is not that the monkey will get inside an aeroplane and the aeroplane will take. The monkey itself had to become an aeroplane. So who will do that job? So the distance between the southern tip of our country and Lanka was estimated to be 100 yojanas. As I have already said in one of the kandas, what is a yojana? A yojana was a unit for measurement of the distance in those days. 1 yojana is approximately 8 miles. So 100 yojanas will be 800 miles. And we know that the number of kilometers, when it is converted to number of kilometers, it will be surely more than 1000. So 800 miles, which will be more than 1000 kilometers. So someone had to travel and fly across the ocean for 1000 kilometers. Now came the question, who will fly? One monkey called as Gajaha. Gajaha in Sanskrit means elephant. But this monkey's name was Gajaha. Probably the monkey would have been in the size of an elephant. That was why it was called. So this Gajaha, he stood up and said, Dasha yojanam plaveyam. I can fly for 10 yojanas. Next, there was another monkey called as Gavakshaha. Gavakshaha stood up and said that I can fly for 20 yojanas. Vimshatim yojanaham gamishyami. Then the third monkey got up. The monkey's name was Sharabha. Sharabha said, Trimshatam tu gamishyami. I can fly for 30 yojanas. One said 10, the other said 20, the third one said 30. But what is the use if one monkey can fly 10 yojanas? After flying 10 yojanas, the monkey will fall inside the deep waters of the ocean. So will the second and so will the third. Then Angada, the great son of Vali, stood up and said, Ahamedat gamishyami yojananam shatam mahat. I can fly for all those 100 yojanas, he said. All the monkeys got up in excitement. They were all so happy that Angada was so powerful because he was the son of Vali, and they were all so happy that he could fly for 100 yojanas. But soon their excitement was brought down by his next sentence. He said, I can fly for 100 yojanas one way. I don't have the strength and valor to fly back again. I can stay only in Lanka. Nivartane tu me shaktihi snyannavetina nischitam. Nischitam, it is sure that I cannot fly back. Then they all sat back again. Even Angada could not return back for 100 yojanas. Then what will happen? The monkeys thought, this is our fate, we can't do anything. Then Jambavan, the old bear king, stood up and said, you may all not remember because you were all not born at that point of time. Bhagavan Srimad Narayan had come in the form of a little dwarf called as Vamana. He was born as the younger brother to Indra, hence he was called Upendra. That Upendra, called as Vamana, he came to the Yajnashala of Bali Chakravarti, who was the grandson of Prahlada. He was performing a yajnam and he was giving those gifts to Brahmanas, whatever they wanted. At that point of time, Vamana came and asked for 3-foot land. Bali said, you may measure and take. Bhagavan took Vishwarupam. With 1 foot he measured the entire earth, and with the other foot he measured the entire sky. And he asked for the 3rd foot. At that point of time, Bali Chakravarti offered his head. Bhagavan pushed Bali Chakravarti to the 7th world below, called as Patalam. At that point of time, all the people in this world had to be aware that Bhagavan has measured the 3 worlds. So what I did was, I took a drum, tied it around my hip, took 2 sticks and started beating them, and started flying around the earth at such a speed that one person at one corner of the earth could hear it simultaneously as the other person on the other side could. So I did that. Jambavan was just proving that during his young age he had so much of power. All the monkeys got together and said, Jambavan, we are very happy that you had so much of power, but what is the use now when you can't help us right now? Jambavan said, Maya vairochane gne prabha vishnu sanatanaha pradikshani kritah purvam pramamanaansti vikramam. Now, the only person who was seated very quietly without giving any comments was Hanuman. Jambavan and all the monkeys proceeded towards the place where Hanuman was seated in silence. They all said, "Hey Hanuman, why are you not talking?" Hanuman said, "What can I talk?" Then Jambavan said, "Hanuman, I can understand the very reason why you can't talk. In your childhood, when you were very naughty, you were always having the habit of pulling the hair and the plaits of girls and the rishis. So one day by mistake you pulled the hair of a rishi. The rishi in turn cursed you saying, 'Hey monkey Hanuman, Anjanaputra Anjaneya, because you are having so much of strength and because of that arrogance you are trying to insult all the rishis. May you reach a situation where you may even forget the powers and the strength that you have, and that can only be brought to your memory by somebody else's encouragement and motivation.' Then Jambavan said, 'Hey Hanuman, don't you remember this curse? More than this curse, don't you remember the boons that you were awarded by the gods and the demigods? Hey Hanuman, there was the damsel called as Punjikasthala in the heaven. While she was in the heaven, she was in relationship with one of the demigods called as Vayu Bhagavan, the god of wind. Hence she got pregnated with his child. At that point of time, when they were on earth near a waterfall, she started throwing water on Vayu Bhagavan. By mistake, few droplets of the water reached a rishi's face who was in penance there. He in turn cursed Punjikasthala that because of her pranks, she will be born as a monkey. Hence she was born as Anjana. This Anjana worshipped Rudra, that is Shiva, and Shiva said that Vayuputra Hanuman will be a Rudravataram, will be the incarnation of Shiva, as well as will be the son to Vayu and will be born as a son to Kesari Maharaja and Anjana. Hence you were born Hanuman. Once in your childhood you assumed that the red sun which rose in the morning was a beautiful fruit and you wanted to absorb the fruit. So you started flying towards the sun. At that point of time, Indra, who was in the heaven, thought that you will be a huge threat to Surya Bhagavan's movement. Hence he struck your face with a Vajrayudham, due to which your cheeks and the chin were swollen, because of which you were called Hanuman. Don't you remember, as soon as you fell on this earth, Vayu Bhagavan got angry and he stopped the wind movement in the entire world, due to which all the living creatures started suffering. Then Brahma, along with the gods and demigods, approached Vayu Bhagavan and asked him to withdraw his anger and gave so much of boons to you that you became the most powerful person on earth. It is because of the Rishi's curse that you have forgotten. Hey Hanuman, don't you remember all the boons that were granted to you? Don't you know that you are the incarnation of Shiva? Don't you know that you are the Bhakta of Ram? Don't you know that you are the Bhakta of Ram? You should have the strength and you will be the person who will be flying. Tulsidas celebrates this and he says, Jug sahasra yojan par bhanu leelyo tahi madhur pal janu. While Valmiki says, Abhyuttitham tatas suryam balo drishtva mahavane phalam cheti jigrikshikshustvam uplupyati bhuvit tato divam. Annamacharya, even today if you go to Tirupati and you do a circumambulation, that is if you do a pradakshinam of the sanctum sanctorum of Balaji, you will find a beautiful little shrine with the heading Annamacharya Bhandaram. This is a little place where all the manuscripts of Annamacharya are kept and where all his memories are kept. This Annamacharya was one great Sri Vaishnavite, a follower of the Ramanuja Sampradayam, who composed over 32,000 songs on Balaji, that is Srinivasa Venkateshwara. In one of the hymns, he celebrates the association of Hanuman in Ramayanam with Ram, wherein he brings out the essence of Hanuman's life history. Manga Buddhi Hanumantani Sharanamaga Vinchiti Hanumanta Manga Buddhi Hanumanta Ni Sharanamanga Vinchiti Hanumanta Manga Buddhi Hanumanta Balaka Bimbamu బలమని పట్టిన బాలార్క బింబము, బలమని పట్టిన ఆనరి చేతన హనుమంత, బాలార్క బింబము బలమని పట్టిన ఆలరి చేతన హనుమంత, దూనరి బ్రహ్మాదులచే వరములు కొలిచే కొనిన హనుమంత, దూరని బ్రహ్మాదులచే వరములు కొలిచే కొనిన హనుమంత, మంగాంబుది హనుమంత. పాతాళములోపలి మహిరావణులు ఆతల చంపిన హనుమంత, చేతులు మోచక శ్రీ వెంకటపతి, చేతులు మోచక శ్రీ వెంకటపతి, ఈతల గోలిచే ఇత హనుమంత, ఈతల గోలిచే ఇత హనుమంత, మంగాంబుది హనుమంత, నీ శరణమంగ వించి తిని హనుమంత.